Hi guys, welcome to the Wrestling Retrospective, and in today's video I'm going to do my review of TNA Emergence 2025. So starting off the show, we had Leon Slater defeat Cedric Alexander to retain the X Division Championship in what was a great match. I really enjoyed it. It had that kind of typical X Division feel to it, which TNA do absolutely brilliantly and always have done. There was a fairly evenly contested matchup. I've kind of that. I don't know, it's like this thing of I can't help but think that Leon Slater is going to be an absolutely great X Division champion just because he fits the mold so well. Probably the biggest highlight of the match was his reversal of a superplex into a swinging neckbreaker was absolutely fantastic and just looked so smooth as well. Like everything was just fantastic. Cedric Alexander's German suplexes were wicked. He got some real force behind them. And yeah, I don't normally notice this, but Leon Slater is really agile on his feet. Like he has great balance. A lot of the stuff he does and like a lot of the moves he takes, he lands on his feet most of the time. And it's like amazing. So even when he takes the move, he kind of takes the bump, but then gets up and he's like on his feet quite easily. And yeah, it's so well done. And it's one of the things I really enjoy about Leon Slater matches. And yeah, just great that we saw like a callback to Slammiversary with Leon Slater hitting the Styles Clash before the Swanton 450. I thought that was really good before the state of the match came to an end and he retained. But yeah, absolutely awesome way to start the match off. Start the night off. And yeah, just no complaints from me. This was absolutely fantastic match and you should definitely go check it out. If you enjoy the X Division type of matches, this is ideal for you. Following that, Matt Cardona defeated Mustafa Ali, and yeah, it was another great match. The flow and pacing of the match were really seamless. I really didn't know who was going to win this match throughout. I would have preferred Matt Cardona have won if he hadn't. So the match he did, I thought was very good. But yeah, I very much liked the kind of heel in Mustafa Ali doing the high speed and high flying stuff, and then you have Matt Cardona as the face doing the more high intensity moves and brawling styles. I thought it was like you'd expect it to be swapped through the heel and face dynamic, but the fact it wasn't actually made me prefer this match even more. Mustafa Ali continues to show, like I said in videos before, that he is just one of those people that has good matches with everybody, and we know how good Matt Cardona is anyway, but yeah, just another great match from Mustafa Ali on I don't want to say like a big event, but like a TNA Plus event is still like a decent event and like a pay-per-view for TNA. But I genuinely hope at some point these two do become world champions, because I feel like they would make very good world champions, but also because they put on great matches so consistently that I feel like they would go amiss if they weren't world champion at some point. But yeah, Mustafa really played it absolutely brilliant tactically when Matt Cardona kind of distracted himself by taking out Jason Hotch, but then him taking advantage of that immediately by taking out Matt Cardona, which unfortunately led to him getting rolled up and Matt Cardona getting the win. But yeah, Mustafa Ali not only wrestling very well, but wrestling very smart as well. And yeah, as I just said, out of the two though, if Mustafa Ali doesn't become TNA World Champion, I feel like it would be a travesty and a real big opportunity missed to make him a world champion, and because I feel like he, especially in TNA, would be a great champion, and a great face of the company as well. Following that, we had First Class, so Rich Swann and AJ Francis defeat the System, which was Brian Myers and Eddie Edwards. And yeah, this was a solid tag match. The match quality kind of went as I expected. It wasn't one of the best tag team matches, but it was solid, and it kind of was fine. It served the purpose of just being on the card. It was added literally the day before, so instead it was just a way to get First Class and the System on the card, which kind of makes perfect sense. I do think that First Class do need to eventually become tag team champions. If anything, they didn't really need to give the Hardys the tag team championships, but I'll kind of get into that later. But yeah, I pretty much don't give Eddie Edwards enough credit as a tag team guy, even though he was like someone who I was growing up when I was watching TNA as part of the Wolves. He was like one of the tag team guys, but now I see him more as like a extreme wrestler, like when he was taking influences from Tommy Dreamer and Mick Foley and stuff like that. But yeah, I don't really see him as one of them great wrestlers, but then when I watch him, I get reminded of how good he is. Same with Rich Swann. I forgot how good he is. It's been a long time since I've seen him kind of wrestle, to be fair, like on a big event. I know that he was in First Class for a bit, then he kind of left and then he came back again. But yeah, like his athletic style in the ring is just so good. And yeah, as I said, I can't compliment enough. And I remember watching him when he was in WWE under 205 Live and being really impressed by him. So yeah, I said big compliments to Rich Swann and Eddie Edwards in this match. AJ Francis, though, he didn't like do anything great wrestling wise. His character work and what he's been doing in TNA, he has been absolutely killing it, and he's going to end up pretty much, I feel like, becoming a very big star because of this run in TNA. And I feel like if he stays in TNA, he could really get to a point where he like maybe even wins a world championship just for the controversy alone and the way everyone hates him. Like, it would kind of work in that way. But yeah, said as the match goes, it was a decent match. It wasn't great, but wasn't bad either. It was rightly placed, like dead in the middle of the card. And yes, it felt like it kind of served the purpose of getting First Class and the system just on the show overall, really. After that, we had Mike Santana defeat Sami Callihan, and I love the fact that this got made into a street fight literally immediately into the match. You know, it fits Sami Callihan to an absolute T, and it kind of makes his retirement match kind of the way he would want to go out in an extreme style of match. And yeah, it made me look forward to the match just as it was starting to like get into things even more. The staple gun will never not make me cringe, you know, with Santana taking a staple to the chest and to the armpit. Yeah, makes me cringe every time when AEW do it, and same when it comes to TNA. Wasn't quite the match I wanted as Callahan's last match. I kind of expected a little bit more. I expected it to be like very extreme. Thinking more back to like the I believe it was Monsters Ball they had with OVE and LAX when these two have faced before in Extreme Rules matches. But yeah, I said it wasn't like the best match, which was a bit of a shame in my opinion. I don't know how Sami Callihan wrestles in a jacket. I feel like that would piss me off a lot. But Santana pins a former world champion, which of course helps kind of his cause of getting back into the world title scene following his loss of Slammiversary. I said it was good. I just expected a lot more out of this one. You know, I know that these two can absolutely go in Extreme Rules matches or no DQ or street fights. You know what I mean? Yeah, it kind of felt like they were holding back a bit. Maybe WWE have had a big influence on how much, or at least how extreme things can get in TNA nowadays compared to what they were doing a few months ago. You know, I think back to the Barbed Wire Massacre match that Sami Callihan had with Mance Warner, which I absolutely loved. I feel like maybe something goes out that way. Like I said, I feel like WWE might play some kind of influence here. But yeah, I just expected more out of this one. So I'm not massively disappointed with it. It was a good match. As I said, I just wanted more, as I've said. But yeah, I am sad about Sami Callihan retiring. He's like someone I've always been behind in TNA. At one point, I'd probably argue he was my favourite guy in TNA, especially in that kind of 2018 to 2020 era. But he's had some real highlight matches, in my opinion. I know I've recently done a video on matches outside of WWE and AEW, with which he was on one of them at least. But his two matches with Tessa Blanchard at Hard to Kill and Slammiversary were both fantastic. As I've just mentioned, the Monsters Ball match with OVE and LAX, as well as the Barbed Wire Massacre match with Mance Warner recently, and he had, I believe, a Monsters Ball match with Penta as well. I don't know if it was Monsters Ball, but it was some kind of no DQ match with Penta for the World Championship, which was great as well. And yeah, I really enjoyed his run as TNA champion, and the fact that he helped Tessa get over as an intergender wrestler as well, at least took it to the mainstream between Tessa and Callihan. I thought it was really cool. And yeah, I said it's a real shame, but that he is retiring, or I said I can't help but feel like he might end up going elsewhere and he's just retiring in TNA. But if he does stay retired and doesn't wrestle again, then fair play to him. He's put his body through a lot over the years, and yeah, I hope things go well for him in the future, because I feel like I would miss him a lot in TNA. Following that, we had the Elegance brand defeat Fatal Influence, The Inspiration, and Lei Yingli and Xia Brookside to retain the TNA Knockouts Championships. The two starting in the ring thing annoys me every time, and I'm going to mention it every time until they fix it, because it's stupid, especially when we have Fatal 4-Way matches. Why would they have only two people starting the ring? We don't have a Fatal 4-Way match singles-wise, and you have two people on the apron getting ready to tag in. And yet, in tag team matches, that's what we do. It's stupid, it's silly, and they need to scrap that in all wrestling because it pisses me off. But other than that, it was a decent tag match. It was very scrappy, but that's kind of what I expected and kind of what I wanted. As soon as this match broke down, you knew it was going to kind of improve massively, and that was very much the case here. I'm not sure about how I feel about the Elegance brand winning here. I really wanted them to lose. I really am not on board with Elegance brand kind of continuing to be tag team champions. I would have very much preferred to see the Inspiration have another run, or maybe one last run as Knockouts tag team champions. But for me, I feel like it fell very much in line for Fatal Influence to hold all the TNA gold and then kind of control NXT and TNA. But they said it wasn't the case, and they said it's fine. I just hope that they do lose the title soon, which I know is pretty harsh, but if you don't like something, you don't like something. Very good to see Jasmine Nix actually wrestling. I can't even remember the last time we saw Jasmine Nix wrestle. Yeah, big fan of Fatal Influence just as a whole. They're probably one of the better things on NXT right now, and the fact that they're being on TNA and Impact as well, I think is pretty cool. Xylee and Brookside? Interesting. That's not what she's called. Lee and Brookside looked very good throughout this match. They had a very good showing in defeat, and I said they looked absolutely great. Inspiration, they were just there, to be fair. They didn't really affect the match much, which is a bit of a shame. But yeah, this one, nothing really special. I said we need new champions, in my opinions. I need to stop backing the Inspiration in my predictions videos because clearly it's just not going to happen. But yeah, I said it was fine, but Fatal 4-Way matches that are tag team matches where two people start in the ring are always a mess. Well, I mean, I say they're a mess like it's a negative thing. It's scrappy, which is kind of good. This also was kind of short to say that there was like 12 people involved. 12? No, 8 people involved, sorry. I'm very tired. I've just finished a 12-hour shift. But yeah, I said it was good for what it was. It wasn't bad at all. Just again, I expected more again, I guess. But I just hate this tag team rule of having 2 in the ring. It just annoys me, and it doesn't help these matches at all. Following that, Steve Macklin successfully retained the International Championship against Jake Something, and it's not like Something because I don't know his name. His name is actually Something, in case you don't know. In a no DQ, no count out match. And yeah, this was good. It was an absolute brawl. It was very hard hitting between them both. As Jake Something controlled pretty much for the first part of the match with some very heavy moves. The Black Hole Slam on the floor and the Powerbomb on the steps looked particularly brutal. Macklin controlled for the second part of the match. Dive off the stage was really cool. And then they just beat the crap out of each other for the rest of the match. It was fairly even after that, and kind of for the closing third of the match, it was very evenly contested. But yeah, I mean, Jake Something reversing the Tree of Woes. So pretty much, I don't know what Steve Macklin calls it, as I know it's his own thing. But pretty much, Jake Something is in the Tree of Woe position, and Macklin spears his opponent. But instead of him doing the spear, Jake Something caught him and then put him in a sleeper hold. It was brilliantly done, and you could, as it is one of the moments where you realise that like these. I don't know, you realise they do homework on each other because they obviously put the match together. But yeah, it was just one of these things. It was really like out of nowhere reversal, which looked great from Jake Something, who like continues to really improve over this past year, going from kind of someone who was used every so often to someone who's kind of got a pretty solid spot in TNA right now. But yeah, Macklin has been a great international champion so far. I assume that Frankie Kazarian's going to be his next opponent for the championship. I can actually see him losing the title to Kazarian just through some shenanigans and Kazarian cheating him out the title, which would be a shame because I don't feel like Frankie Kazarian really needs a championship in his career right now. But it wouldn't surprise me just with the kind of shithouse heel that he is that he would cheat to get the championship. But yeah, Steve Macklin's been absolutely killing it right now. So is Jake Something. So this match made perfect sense. And yeah, they used to beat the crap out of each other, and it was very enjoyable. After that, we had the Hardy Boys defeat the Rascals to retain the World Tag Team Championships. And this was fine. Arguably the weakest match on the card. I feel like, you know, there's not really much the Rascals can do against the Hardy Boys right now. Like, they have a really high-paced offense where they're flying around the ring, running around at a very quick pace, and the Hardys quite simply cannot keep up with them. I feel like this wasn't probably the best match to have right before the Bound for Glory match, when we know that's going to be quite a slow affair as well. But yeah, it's clearly, like, I don't know, as I said in my predictions, I don't want to keep repeating myself, but it's very clear that the Hardys are not going to be losing the tag titles before Bound for Glory, because they're going to want to make the Dudleys versus the Hardys for the championships, which makes perfect sense from a business way, but it means that when they defend the tag titles between now and then, we know that the Hardys are going to win. And this was very much a case of, because the titles were never in jeopardy, this match kind of wasn't as good as it could have been, because we kind of knew the result before the match had even started, which is never a good thing when it comes to wrestling. But yeah, for the majority of the time, the Rascals did control the match, as I would expect at this point. The Hardys controlled in the very end part to get the win. I said they made the Rascals look really good in defeat. It just doesn't make them look very good as far as like doing full matches goes. But as I said, personally, the Hardys really shouldn't have won the tag team titles at Slammiversary. I probably would have put the titles on either the Rascals or First Class. But then they put the stupid stipulation in where it was like, oh, if the Hardys don't win, then they're going to retire or leave or whatever. So we knew they were going to win at that point as well. And as I said, we know that they're not going to lose the titles before the Dudleys match. Commentary also mentioned the fact that the Nemeths do have a rematch clause, so we've got that match to look forward to, which I just could not give less of a shit about if I tried. So yeah, for me, and from my point of view, the tag team title division is a bit in the bin right now. Hopefully after Bound for Glory, so I can't remember what their last pay-per-view of the year is, but it'll come to me at some point. Final Resolution. Maybe at Final Resolution we will see the Hardys drop the titles to a team within TNA who can actually go in ring, and yeah, we start seeing the tag team division improve a lot more. And finally, in the main event, Trick Williams defeated Moose to retain the TNA World Championship. And yeah, this was an unexpected, brilliant match. I wasn't quite expecting him to be... Right, I'll try that again. Again, just finished a 12-hour shift, you'll have to forgive me. I expected this to be a good match. I didn't expect this to be a great match. Maybe I underestimate Trick a lot. I think that's mainly my issue. But no, these two had great chemistry together. The flow and the pacing was really nicely done between these two. It kind of went quick, but in a good way, if that makes sense. Like, it was so enjoyable throughout that it seemed to fly by. Yeah, it was fairly even too. Moose being the big powerhouse, but hitting, you know, top rope moves and like kind of out of nowhere moves, like, was done really well again. And yeah, something that again made it very enjoyable. The springboard crossbody and the pop-up bow bomb kind of out of nowhere from Moose, I think worked really well. I've liked also how they were trading strikes to start with before they got into grappling moves, and then went back to strikes in the middle, then went back into grappling again. As it had a really good dynamic between these two, where they're both quite hard-hitting wrestlers anyway, but they kind of wrestled each other's styles throughout the match, which again sort of made this very enjoyable. I liked how Moose is embracing being more of a babyface now, and it's been, or at least felt, so quickly after he was being a heel in the system for so long, that like people, obviously the chant of Moose is obviously very helpful in those kind of positions where you need to get over again as a babyface. But yeah, I said there was no real obvious turn for Moose. Him and the system just became babyfaces after feuding with Dark State, and after Moose dropped the X Division Championship to Leon Slater. But yeah, you could tell also that Trick had done his homework on Moose. He had a lot of great counters to Moose's moves. Like, it wasn't just like, oh, I'll just counter with a little move. They were like full-on, proper, like, good move counters as well, if that makes sense. But yeah, Trick rolling out of the ring for the first spear was very smart, showed great ring awareness from him. Also a lovely table spot towards the end for Moose. I said when the clean for the break of the table was so clean as well. It was absolutely fantastic. But yeah, I thought the first trick shot was going to be it. But I'm glad that the ref bump didn't result in any interference. There was just a bit of rule breaking attempted by Trick before he actually did it. And then obviously finished the move off. Moose looks great in defeat, because it took 3 trick shots to put him down for 3. And yeah, it was a clean win as well, which is always good when you see Trick kind of use First Class a lot to get to retain his championship, especially with the match with Mike Santana on NXT. To see him win clean here, I thought was really good. And yeah, for me, this was probably match of the night. I very much enjoyed it. Obviously, the first two matches in the card, Mustafa Ali and Cardona, and Slater and Cedric were very good as well. But yeah, I found myself enjoying this one way more than I thought, which is why I've given it match of the night. And yeah, I've got nothing bad to say about this one. It was very, very good. So those are my thoughts and opinions on TNA Emergence 2025. Do put down in the comments below what you thought of the show and anything else in general. Who do you think is going to be the guy that's going to take the title from Trick? And yeah, just anything else, anything you're looking forward to come Bound for Glory. If you assume what the matches are, obviously we know we're getting the Hardys versus the Dudleys, which I understand like is a good nostalgia effect, but it's a match I'm not really looking forward to that much because I know it isn't going to be a good match. But yes, anything else about TNA in the comments, do sign up. We'll have a good discussion about it there. A lot of stuff coming up on the channel as well. Your coverage of Heatwave and Forbidden Door this weekend. There's also a revisit, so I'll be reviewing Forbidden Door 2022. As well as other stuff. There's one big list in 2 videos where I'm going to be showing who I think the best wrestlers in the world bell to bell are right now. So do look forward to that. It'll be a top 50 list. But yeah, so do stick around for all that stuff, and as well, as I've said, coverage of Forbidden Door and Heatwave coming as well. So do subscribe, do like the video if you enjoyed it, and yeah, thank you very much for watching. I'll see you guys in the next one.